Hey, my name's Gabriel Wheaton. I'm playing violin slash fiddle for Mako. I'm also playing synth bass and acoustic guitar. And I wanted to show you guys some of my gear that I'm using on stage. This is a 5-string violin made by a luthier in Minneapolis, I believe. And it has 5 instead of 4, the standard 4 strings that a fiddle has. It's got a LR Baggs pickup here, which is nice because it doesn't feed back very easily, and it's one of the best violin pickups there is available. So I got this pickup because the violin had a built-in pickup. You can see that jack right here, and while it sounds great, it's more prone to feedback because it's closer to a mic than an actual piezo electric pickup. So I bought this so that I could jam out in really high volume environments, and there are basically 2 or 3 major makers of bridge pickups in the violin world that are at this level. I'm really happy with it. And the strings are, I'm in the middle of putting on helicore strings because I usually use dominants. They're a little bit darker, but this violin tends to be a little darker anyway. And helicore strings comes with a 5-string set, which is pretty valuable because it's one of the only 5-string C strings, as opposed to you just using a normal viola string for the C string. So far so good. My old violin was a 4-string, and it was actually stolen in Santa Barbara, unfortunately. And I discovered this online at a place called acousticelectricstrings.com. acousticelectricstrings.com. And I just went out on a limb and tried it out, ordered it, and it sounds amazing. It's a couple $1,000s, which is a steal for a violin that sounds this good. I mean, most classical violins go for at least 5, but probably over 10 in the professional world. I don't really remember. I've had this bow since I was probably 12 years old, and my parents were in charge of procuring musical related things for me. This is another LR Baggs, same company as the pickup, Venue full isolation DI. This is basically the Taj Mahal of acoustic pickups for acoustic guitarists, violinists, cellists, all sorts of acoustic string players. I just purchased this for the tour, and I'm incredibly happy that I did. It has a mute tuner function, which is great because you don't want to be heard screeching while you're tuning. Really flexible EQ controls. You can tune the high band and the mid band so that you can really target out specific frequencies and specific nodes that feed back more easily, depending on the stage area. It has a notch filter as well, and it has an effects loop. And the thing I like about this effects loop is that it has separate send and returns, so you don't have to get a Y splitter, which is the case for a lot of DI preamps. My violin input goes directly into the, this is a DI and a preamp, but I'm only using the DI functionality of it because the gain on the pickup itself is actually so hot that it doesn't really need to be boosted at all. So it goes into here, and then I send the audio out through to this Boss RC505 looper. Then the audio returns out from here after it's done processing, comes back, and then it functions as a DI, and it sends that full signal all the way to the front of house. As a solo act, I do a lot of live looping, and so I've been researching over the years every different type of live looper that is available online, and none of them do exactly what I want them to do. They all have most of the functions, but they're missing one very important function, and this one finally has everything that I want. It has 5 independent stereo loops, each one with its own volume control. It has a ton of really flexible effects processing, both in the input, so you're bouncing the effects to the loop as you record it, and the output, where you can turn them on and off. So this one is especially useful at the transition from Legends Never Die to Smoke-Filled Room. We use it as a live looper. It's not built into any track, which is kind of cool because it allows it to be a little bit more organic, a little bit more atmospheric. And I use this loop to layer on kind of a pad drone thing to bring us from one song to the next. And the separate volume controls really help with that. Also, it has built-in reverb that sometimes if I want the violin to sound a little bit more washy on specific songs, I crank that up a little bit. It has a whole host of other effects that I don't really use during the Mako set because they would be a little much. Thanks for checking out my gear that I'm using with Mako. You can find them at We Are Mako, I believe, is the Instagram handle. And none of these people are currently sponsoring me, so do it.